Keeping it honest tonight, and just in time to round out the first week of Black History Month, the president's social media post depicting the nation's first black president and first lady as apes. He has just talked about it aboard Air Force One, but first it needs some context of how we got here. The post went up on his social media feed at 11:44 last night. This is the frame grab from it. The image in question appears in the last few seconds of a minute-long election conspiracy video full of lies. Here's some of it.
When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
Well, that was from just one of more than 6 items that went up on the president's timeline in the 11 p.m. and midnight hours. So this is just as a case in point how the president of the United States does this is what he does late into the night, amplifying tired old false election conspiracies and attacking immigrants in this country and others. A couple of his late night posts attacked New York's new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, and mixed into all of this, of course, was the America's first black president and first lady shown in this way. An expression of what's been called America's original sin, racism, in one of its original forms, depicting black Americans as animals, in a post from a man who once said this.
Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. I am the least racist person. I'm the least racist person in this room.
Well, the least racist person's blatantly racist post went up at 11:44 last night. By this morning, at least some Republican lawmakers were saying familiar things about the president's Truth Social postings.
Well, I've not seen that video till you just showed it to me, but look, what I've tried to do, and I tried to do it on your show today, the number one thing that we need to do is elevate the conversation.
Well, he promised to watch the video when he got off the air. As it happens, a lot of his fellow Republicans must have or seen that frame grab from it, because several joined Democrats in publicly criticizing the president for posting it, most notably Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, who said this online. Praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. Now, keeping him honest, the wording that Senator Scott chose alone is fascinating. Calling something, quote, the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House suggests that he's seen plenty of other racist things from this White House, which is not something he has ever talked about before. The administration's initial response this morning was not to take down the post and not to apologize for posting it. Instead, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said, and I quote, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King." She continued, "Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." Now, keeping him honest, she seems to be saying that it does not matter to the public whether the President of the United States is up at odd hours of the morning posting racist internet memes. And she seems to be saying that it's okay when someone else created it first, which is one of Mr. Trump's oldest excuses. You know, it was just a retweet. As for this being a video based on characters from The Lion King, as a dad of a 3- and 5-year-old, I happen to spend a lot of time watching The Lion King these days, a lot of time. And just want to point out, there's no gorillas or apes in Lion King. There are lions and meerkats, a hornbilled bird, hyenas, wildebeest, a warthog, and Rafiki, who's a mandrill. A few hours after Karoline Leavitt's not-so-clever Lion King excuse, someone at the White House decided they needed to come up with another story. And just after lunchtime, a senior official told CNN it wasn't the president who made the post at all. They said, quote, "A White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down." No apology, no acknowledgement it was racist, and apparently not quite accurate, because just a short time ago, the president himself said this.
Social media post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire them?
No, I looked at it, I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There was a lot of voter fraud, 2020 voter fraud, and I didn't see the whole thing. I guess during the end of it, there was some kind of a that people don't like. I wouldn't like it either, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud in and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people, generally they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't, and they posted, and we took it down, and we turned it, you know. But that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that post. We took it down as soon as we found out about it.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I look at a lot of thousands of things, and I looked at the beginning of it. It was fine. And they had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered. If you look at where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on The Lion King.
Joining me now is Harvard University professor and former NAACP president Cornell William Brooks. Professor, the president is saying in furtherance of a lie about voter fraud in Georgia, of which there was not, which is just something he endlessly repeats like a guy in a bar late at night. He posted or approved the posting of this meme. What do you make of his explanation and how the White House has kind of come up with various explanations throughout the day?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What I make of the president's explanation is that it is neither an explanation nor an excuse. We have seen from this White House shifting narratives, the president taking responsibility for posting that which the White House denied and that is subsequently attributed to a young staffer. So in other words, we have shifting narratives, apparent lies, and the president not taking responsibility for his actions and the consequences of it. Anderson, we need to really be clear here. The president was drawing from a deep, toxic well of racist tropes going back to at least the 1850s with scientific racism. This notion that Black people are most closely related to apes and gorillas and simians, such that they are subhuman and sub-citizens. And since this president has called into question President Obama's birthplace and his legitimacy, credibility as a citizen, this is true to form. So in other words, this is incredibly offensive. It is not entirely new.
Well, it's interesting. You are right. It is also interesting that he doesn't say, you know, had I seen this, I never would have done this. This is, you know, terrible. These images are sickening, you know, and I would never post something like that. And it's interesting to me that I guess he views it as a sign of strength, his refusal to ever apologize, his refusal to admit that he made a mistake. It seems to me the ultimate sign of weakness, that he's so afraid of being seen as making a mistake that he can't admit it when he does.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's a sign of weakness in two respects. There's a weakness with respect to admitting a wrong and taking responsibility, but there's also weakness with respect to his inability to resist this racist impulse to demean, to degrade, to belittle Black people generally, and the country specifically. And what I mean by that is this president seems to think that he is merely insulting the Obamas and Black people when he, in fact, is also insulting his supporters. What do we mean by that? He seems to believe that his base and white Americans can be so rage-baited and race-baited that they will forget high grocery prices or unaffordable homes or a White House that is in absolute chaos. So in other words, he calls into question the humanity, the intelligence and character of Black people, but he also calls into question the intelligence and conscience of white people. And so he is so small on so many levels. This is, caricature in miniature, microscopic character.
Cornell William Brooks, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you. Take care. Up next, we're going to return to the Nancy Guthrie case and dive into how crowdsourcing help from the public may be crucial in bringing her home. Also, with investigators back at her home, canvassing her neighborhood, 2 former FBI special agents weigh in on the case. Plus, the father of kidnapping survivor Elizabeth Smart joined me. She was abducted, held for almost a year at